Free the dumb, freedom, free the dumb, so that they can speak, yeah. Yeah, this is Nature Ellis representing the perfect balance, trad class, featuring Ras Dada, talking about Bingi, talking about, of course, Yaga, talking about Oka Van Gogh. Yeah, you know, say a good vibration, seeing to elevate the nation, seeing, don't you know, talking about a revolution sound. Keep it locked. Nature Ellis has said that. Zane, perfect balance strat class. Do it.
Welcome back to the Perfect Balance Strat class, where we dive into the journey of people reshaping culture and identity. Today we are joined by a man who is not a stranger, but a family and a close family who sets out on a journey across continent. He was born of Jamaican parents in the UK, and then he sets out on a sojourn to live in the hills of Costa Rica, where he ran a vegan restaurant while he was in Costa Rica. Then, upon leaving Costa Rica, he journeyed to Ghana, where he now resides and call home. And in recent times, in recent weeks, he has changed his name, his government name, to an African name where he goes by the name Ya. He's also an author who has produced his first book, which is available on Amazon at the moment. Welcome to the Perfect Balance Trad class. Yeah.
Greeting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When growing up in the UK, what was it like as a Jamaican, and how did that shape your sense of identity?
Okay, I grew up in the 70s. I was born in the mid 60s, 1967. So I grew up in a time of systematic racism, which still exists, but in them days it was normalized. By the media, by the police, at school, at work, everywhere it's normalized. So even in the 70s, 80s, we had certain programs on TV. One called Love Thy Neighbor, one called Till Death Do Us Part, one called Rising Down. Even had Roots, which is a story about an American guy called Kunta Kinte and his journey from Africa, ancestral to America. Growing up as a Jamaican, relating to being an African, wasn't easy. My father was one of them Jamaicans that would not associate with being African. In fact, if you want to insult me, he'll call me African, Go call me hair, you look like an African. You still like an African.
There are many people like that still exist today, still who don't want to associate themselves with Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I kind of rebelled in a sense. Like I was listening to ska music. I was what you call a rude boy. People will misinterpret this. They won't understand because at the same time, the barlets in England were listening to the same music. They were skanking to ska, but still chasing the black people there to beat them up and thing, So like growing up, I struggled to identify with being African because of a narrative. The only time I see an African is on TV when they're showing a famine in Ethiopia, So to be an African was disgraceful. But I didn't buy that. So I started traveling from my 20s, trying to find my identity. And up until now, up until last year, I never found a place where I could find home until I reached Ghana.
Before you go on to Ghana, let's go to Costa Rica. What inspired you? What inspired you to leave UK and eventually make Costa Rica your home?
Trying to find a place where I belonged. Okay. Even when I went to Jamaica, I didn't feel like I belonged in Jamaica. I was still seen as a foreigner. So I went to Costa Rica, not knowing they had a big Jamaican community out there. But I know there is no Jamaican restaurants or anything out there as well. This is why I started a Jamaican vegan restaurant. But I was always trying to find out who I was. And I couldn't find that in England. I traveled around Europe. I couldn't find out in Europe. I went to India. I lived in Spain. Costa Rica, I felt more home because I felt more belonging there in Costa Rica because of the Jamaican population there, but still not complete. Still not complete. But the reason I went to Costa Rica is I was still searching for my identity, and I believe in fate. Different circumstances led me to Costa Rica.
Christian, we know that Costa Rica has the largest Jamaican community in a non-English speaking country, right? But you said you didn't feel at home in Jamaica. So were you in that community, the Jamaican community in Costa Rica?
Yes, I mean, because the Jamaicans reached Costa Rica around the 1920s to build a railroad from San Jose to Limon, which is the province where the Jamaicans settled. It felt like so when I went to Costa Rica, I didn't go to the Caribbean side first of all. I went there, so I'm looking. I was into farming at this time. Because before Costa Rica, I lived in Tenerife, Canary Islands, which is just off the west coast of Africa. So I was into farming. Went to Costa Rica for farming opportunity before I realized about the Jamaican population in the South Caribbean side of Costa Rica. So when I went there, I felt more at home because it looks like Jamaica, the coconut trees, the banana trees, and the influence and smell of ganja everywhere you go. So I kind of stumbled on this side of Costa Rica. But when I stumbled on it, I felt at home because people like me was there already.
But yet it wasn't enough. Something else. You was looking for more.
It wasn't enough. I mean, gentrification in Costa Rica is heavy. A lot of Americans are going there now, buying up land, and it's very expensive to live there. For example, I remember last time I was there, I was paying like $5 for a cauliflower. So gentrification is rife in Costa Rica, and I see it changing. I see the Jamaican community and indigenous communities disappearing. So I see it change a lot there. So after I was there for 4 years before I decided to come home to Africa. But I see it's all part of the wider journey. You get me?
So let me ask you this question. You open up a vegan restaurant in Costa Rica. What was the inspiration and what was, why a vegan restaurant? Your knowledge of food is your knowledge of foods and herbs, and is that what influenced you doing this thing?
Well, what really influenced me was once I landed Costa Rica, I noticed there wasn't any Jamaican restaurants there. Although there's plenty of Jamaicans, there's no Jamaican restaurants. And by the time I reached Costa Rica, I was vegan for 4 years. I went before Costa Rica, I lived in Tenerife where I was running a Jamaican restaurant, a traditional Jamaican restaurant, with jerk chicken, ackee, saltfish, fried fish. So when I went to Costa Rica, I went there as a vegan. I still wanted to cook Jamaican food. So I come up with a new concept, a Jamaican vegan restaurant, because, with like jerk jackfruit, for example, and breadfruit, fish, ackee and seaweed, so all these recipes.
The jackfruit. I remember the jackfruit recipe. I used to see that a lot.
Yes.
The jackfruit.
Yes, and jerk jackfruit burgers. So this is a new concept, I wanted to bring the Jamaican flavors to Costa Rica, being a vegan. And the main inspiration for that was as well, there's no Jamaican restaurant in Costa Rica.
Now, and how did your restaurant do? How successful were you?
Yeah, it done very well because it's more of a community space than a restaurant. Right. So I would open mic sessions there because I'm also a musician and songwriter. So I use this platform to sing my songs there and invite other musicians there. We're selling books about spirituality, and the proceeds for this will go to a charity for abandoned dogs. We'd have an organic fruit and vegetable market there every 2 weeks. We'd have a trade market there. So it's more of a community space that I was trying to build in Costa Rica.
Is there a plan to replicate that? Is there a plan to replicate that in Ghana?
No, man. Restaurant is hard work, It's hard work. I'm glad I've done it. I'm glad I experienced it, but I don't want to do that again. So my main now is tourism. This is the route I'm following now.
So Ghana, you call Ghana home. What? Why is Ghana home? Ghana, that place that you call home now. What made Ghana so much different than everywhere else that you went?
Okay, first of all, we know that they say around 80% of Jamaicans originate from West Africa. Ghana called me. I planned to come to Ghana without any. I mean, I didn't have a lot. I just sold a restaurant. I decided to come to Ghana and try and make a life for myself because I wanted to come to a place where I feel like I would belong. And Ghana always called me for years now. Ghana is calling me. So it felt like a homecoming. And I've been here more than 1 year now, and it even feels more like a homecoming now because where I live, in the little village I live next to a royal family. They invited me to they invited me to a funeral there a few weeks ago, and I sat upstairs with the chiefs and the kings and princes, and they treat me like I've never felt before. Never in my life have I felt like I belong somewhere like I do here in Ghana.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Dada,
Yes, sir. So it's a rich experience you've had. You traveled multiple places around the world, and I'm sure you've garnered like, because them said traveling is one of the greatest forms of education.
Mm.
So in terms of cultural awareness and stuff like that, you must be
Mm.
very key on that, you know. So coupled now with your African origins, right? What would you think is one of the are some of the greatest similarities that you've seen in all these different cultures that you've experienced?
People that recognize themselves as belonging to the motherland. People who come to Africa who feel like they're not going back to Africa, they're going forward to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know many people from England in my generation that have made this journey. I don't know if they're still afraid of Africa because Africa has got, you know, a questionable reputation. You know, people don't realize Africa is as developed as it is. You know, I feel when I see people in Ghana, I see myself. And I've never lived in a country where I see myself and so many people before I come here.
Natural. You know, because you know, sometimes we look and we think that we're so different. We think that we're so different because we're so separated. Like they do everything in their powers to keep us disconnected from each other. So as a result of that, because we're in different regions of the planet, we see ourselves as separate. You know, and I would imagine that your journeys have showed you that we are quite similar.
Yeah, I mean, we are the same. We are one. You know, because before the Europeans divided up Africa like a pizza, it was one. It didn't have these borders like they have nowadays. You know, the borders were beneficial to their colonizers.
Mm-hmm.
So I really feel like we're one people. Especially the way the youngsters react to me here. You know, the youngsters don't see me as a foreigner. Some of the Ghanaians see me as a foreigner because they think I've got money because I come from foreign. But this is the way where brainwashed to believe. But the one thing I noticed in Africa, which is much different from the other countries around the world, is education. I feel it's based on a colonized curriculum. Like there's no African history that we started with slavery. You know, even the schools here that teach beyond that. You know, so
'Cause prior to that, we were uncivilized.
Right.
yes, 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 exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Which
most
is a
people
sad
don't know about the
commentary.
history. Most people don't know
Yeah.
about the history before
And
colonization. So
are disconnected from it.
that's why I think they are disconnected with it and they can't be bothered to know, you know.
Well,
So,
the teachers are there. There's elders here that know the history before colonization, but they're restricted to their access they get to the people that should be learning these things.
Right.
right. So you made a statement earlier, brother, yeah, where you say now you're into tourism. So I'd like you to expand on that to explain what sort of tourism are you into at the moment.
Okay, it's cultural tourism. So
Mhm.
I'm a co-founder of a company called True Culture Tour and Travels. And we want to bring people from diaspora to Africa to find out so they can feel where they're from. So we do tours, for example, one of our major tours, we had a tour in July just gone, and it was to celebrate Panafest, which is a festival they have every 2 years here in Ghana to highlight Pan-Africanism.
Right.
During this tour, we would bring our people to Essen Manso, which is the slave river. It's where slaves walked miles and miles with very little food and very little water. They had their last bath before they continued the journey on foot in shackled and chains to Cape Coast dungeons. We also visit kingdoms like Ashanti and the museums there and explain like the wars that Ashanti Kingdom had with the British. This is how Ya Aswanta became famous because she led an army to defeat the British. Where tourism isn't about chilling on a beach or drinking cocktails, it's about cultural immersion, showing the people where they actually come from. And it's interesting when
Right.
they get to the Cape Coast dungeons, for example. Right, I live about 30 minutes away from the dungeons in Cape Coast.
Mhm.
When you go there and you feel what our ancestors had been through, it's a powerful realization because you realize that your ancestors survived this ordeal, and not many people did.
True.
Experiences like
Yeah.
this give strength in being African, makes you realize how
Mhm.
strong and resilient you
It's
are.
a terrible atrocity.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I've experienced, and like I told the eye before, I've been to Ghana and I've been to other places and entered into these so-called, well, not so-called, but these places where they had slaves, where they kept slaves, right? And the environment under the conditions under which men and women had to live in these dungeons, in these small rooms, right? Where they live on top of each other, like, and you see the inhumanity. Those places, they hold an energy. When
Yeah,
you
man.
walk into those places, Roots, and yeah, I know the energy is there, you feel it, you feel the energy of
Mm.
those who have gone by, even though it's been far removed and yet not far removed. We think about it as being so distant, but it really isn't.
Above this,
No.
and above the dungeons, is the people.
Yes.
Above there, the church.
Always.
And like religion is one of the vehicles that push colonialism, that suppress the people, divided the people, through religion. Because African religion and African spirituality has also been left behind. Because now like 80% of Ghanaians are religious, whether they're
Christian.
Muslim or Christian. It's a big thing over there. It's big business,
Christians.
big business over there.
Yeah.
Speaking of religion, yeah, it's Rastafari, right?
I don't. Yes, and no. I don't label myself anything. I don't carry a label.
All right. The question, because I see some there was this brethren who also moved to Ghana, and he had some problems in Ghana, like sending his kids to school or something like that, um wearing his
Locks.
locks. So I was wondering if the IFP has any like pushback from the Ghanaian people as a man wearing your locks or challenge
No,
Rastafari.
I receive enough respect. They respect the Rasta man here. They respect the Rasta man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm,
especially where I live in Cape Coast. You go to Cape Coast, it's like they even speak a
right.
pat, and
It's
there's
true.
not enough men running around with dreads. They call dreadlocks Rasta. So if you have
Yeah.
dreadlocks, anybody with dreadlocks called Rasta here. But I finally got enough respect for people here. But it's funny with the hair thing. Shaved hair is a colonization thing. So you see the girls' hair, schoolgirls' hair, and young ladies' hair, still the shaved hair. They still have that mindset. And a lot of these mindsets. I personally think the church is a big problem here in Africa, particularly in Ghana. It's another vehicle for separation and brainwashing. Ministers here are very, very wealthy people, big cars, send their kids to farm for education. A friend of mine lives in Abri. She's 29. She has 4 children. I spoke to her one Sunday. I called her and said, "Are you going to church today?" Because she goes to church Sundays. She told me, "Say no, she can't go to church because she hasn't got any money. When you go to church, you have to have money to sow your seed." I need a minister.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah, to
Yeah,
top up. You have to top up the church fund. The church fund
Yeah,
have to be topped up, man. You
yeah,
have to
sure.
give your tithes,
You
you know?
didn't see that video the other day. You didn't see that video the other day where the pastor was cursing out the members, man. Said they're not giving enough.
Mm,
They're not
mm,
giving enough.
Yeah,
mhm,
yeah. And like I said, that 80% of Ghanaians apparently are going to church regular.
mm,
Yeah, so this is something that I think needs to change. For I was talking to there's a guy who's next door to me. He's from the royal family. He's the guy that runs everything around here. So he's related to the chiefs, and I think he's called Nana. Nana in Ghana is
mhm,
and then he gets royalty. And he was telling me that the biggest problem in Africa, from his perspective, is democracy.
Mhm.
So democracy is not a good thing. You need revolution, because democracy normally means following the Western ways. You know, where
right.
revolution,
Mhm.
you're going and bucking it faster. This is the answer to Africa's problems. You know, because the more they concentrate on democracy, the more they're aligning with the Western ideologies.
Mhm. And the Western ideologies weren't. The Western ideologies weren't built in favor for the African people.
Mm?
The Western ideologies were not built in favor for the African man.
No, because you
But
look at
no one
Africa.
at all.
No, because
But
Africa.
Well,
but
for
but
the
but
Europeans.
keep in mind, even though we speak of democracy, the
Mm.
Pledge of Allegiance, I pledge my allegiance to the Republic. We must always remember the Pledge of Allegiance in America does not speak of democracy, even though people see America, for instance, as democratic. No, it's a republic by all means.
It is, yes.
So yeah, and like you rightfully said, democracy. What is really democracy? Yeah, all it is Western ideology, right? This globalization of Western ideology because it's a globalization.
Mhm.
Everywhere you go, the influence is there.
Yes, yes.
True.
And you can see what democracy is doing to Africa's natural resources
Absolutely, it's by design.
by design.
It's by design. That's part of globalization, right? To have globalization, this system, the so-called system of democracy. But when you think about what it really is oligarchy. It's not really democracy, right? Because you
Mm.
only really have a certain percentage of the population participating or benefiting from this great wealth they speak about, right?
Yeah.
So in reality, democracy is a sham, It's a sham. It's not
It is.
really it's an unreal thing. Imagine this. The dollar is called fiat money, which means it has no real value. The dollar it has nothing to back it. It is not backed by gold, silver, that it's not backed by nothing.
That's right.
So even that in a democratic system and having the dollar as your trading currency, for example, you could only trade it, but yet it ain't worth nothing. It's an illusion. It's a
Yes.
real illusion.
Democracy is the front for capitalism. It's
Yeah,
democracy, and then it's capitalism right behind.
right behind.
So
Yes,
they take all the
All the resources.
And
for real.
Yeah.
the capital is in slavery. 400 years of slave labor. In fact,
Mm.
that's what gave birth to the Industrial Revolution, to capitalism, is the slave labor.
Mm.
And
it's the new
True.
name for slavery.
yeah, and they call it. Some people call it the slave trade. To me, it's human
Mm.
trafficking.
Yeah,
And
man.
the worst thing about it is, like, if Africa is in debt to a valueless currency like the dollar, if America is in debt, they can print more money. When Africa is in debt, they're in debt to a valueless currency. So how does that work? Especially when you have all the natural resources, Africa can be totally sustainable without the West.
Mm.
It doesn't need
True.
the West needs Africa.
But it has to do with the colonial mindset of the people. So until the people realize that, like Marcus Garvey said, up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will.
Mhm.
Understand? So until the people realize that whatever the mind perceive they can achieve, then they're gonna constantly be in this way, because the first thing they're gonna say is that they can't do it. We can't do that. Anything they come up with as a solution, the first thought, the initial thought is gonna be, oh, we can't do that.
Mhm.
And if you try and break down why can't you do that, they can't give you a valid reason. But it's the colonial mindset.
That's right. That's right.
You also wrote a
Yeah.
book under the
Yes.
name Thames Boundless, which is about your spiritual journey.
Mm.
What
Mhm.
kind of themes and stories do you explore in this work?
Yes, it's a connection between time, a connection between the past, the present, and the future. So the book kind of explains that the only time there is now. The past only exists if you bring it into the present moment. The future is nothing but imagination. Like you can't do nothing in the future. You can talk about doing things in the future, but you can't do things now. You can actually do things in the present moment. The past is, like I said, don't exist unless you bring it into the present moment, you know? So for example, depression comes from living in the past. Anxiety comes from living in the future. So this book explains that the only time there is now. That's the main theme of the book.
Which is true.
It's very true, but it's very difficult to some people.
Yeah, which is true.
Yeah,
Difficult
Yeah.
to grasp.
That's all you have. No,
that's all you have.
absolutely.
All we ever had, you know? And that's why, and it also describes about, it talks about passion. Like, there's many different forms of abundance. A lot of people believe abundance just means material wealth or money.
Right.
But to me, abundance is about living your passion. Because when you're living your passion, anything you need will come, you know? Yeah, this is the reason why I'm here, is to discover our passion and live to the best ability to our passion. So
Yes, sir.
the book explores a lot of these, you know, about time being an illusion, about passion being a main key to our lives. And abundance comes in many different forms.
True.
What is the what you love the most about living in Ghana? What is the most meaningful thing to you about living in Ghana? So what?
The sense of belonging. Like I feel like I belong here. I don't when I'm walking around, I don't feel like a foreigner.
Mhm.
And and it's the children, you know, like children here are happy. They're dancing in the streets. They're polite. I mean, I live about 50 meters away from the main road. If I'm walking out the road carrying something, carrying my shopping, a child will always come and take the shopping from me and carry it for me to my house. When I try to give them some money, they refuse it. They respect the elders there.
Mhm.
And it's a cultural thing, you know, respect the elders is still cultural here in Ghana. It's something that is gone in the West. There's no respect to the elders in the West no more.
Communal living.
True.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we were just speaking about that, right? Social living is the best. That is the example of social living.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hungry be fed, sick be nourished, naked be clothed,
Yes.
yet protected, infants be cared for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And the
That's the
best
core
one,
thing.
But yeah. And also tell us how easy was it for you to transition, to settle in Ghana while you were, you know, how easy was it for you?
it's very easy because of his sense of belonging. You know, when you
No,
go,
in terms of legality, I
In
think Dingy's
legality,
talking about.
well,
legality.
there's a diaspora department at the government office.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there to meet a guy, Coffee, his name is. I went there and I said to him, listen, I'm from the UK. I want to live in Ghana. So this man gave me a letter, which is endorsed by the government, to say, look, this is the immigration department. Basically, do what's possible to make this brother stay in Ghana. So I went to immigration. They gave me a stamp that says I can come and go from Ghana for 1 year. I can get this renewed every year. Also, the government had a year of return initiative, and yearly they produce a list of people, and they're very inviting to live in Ghana. And I'm on this list. So the next announcement from the government, I'm hoping I'll be given a gateway still settle in Africa. So it's encouraging. They want people from diaspora to come here.
True. But
Yeah, so and the reason why I asked that too, because I know there's this big talk about when you could go to Ghana and get citizenship,
Ghanaian citizenship.
Ghanaian citizenship, and this is the reason why I'm asking you, because you're on the ground right now.
So is that
So
accurate?
so that is not completely accurate in that sense, though. It's a process, and how long is that process?
Okay, it's a process, but it's a process encouraged by the government. If you have a Jamaican
Right.
passport, for example, you can come to Ghana, no visa required.
Yeah.
Jamaicans are welcome here, you know. So if you've got a Jamaican passport, that's it, you're in. A British passport, they didn't ask. I was expecting, when I went to the government office, I was expecting to ask me if my parents are Jamaican to give me an easy passport. It wasn't that. They said, look, why have you come to Ghana? And I told them, look, I wanna come home. I feel I'm African. I want to explore Africa. And through this answer, they gave me a letter to take to the immigration services, endorsing, give me permission to stay. It's a
Right.
very, very simple. It's a simple process. It does cost them money. It cost me altogether, I think it's $2,000.
What currency? What currency is that?
American dollars.
Dollars.
American dollars? Okay.
Yeah. It cost me $2,000. 250 of it was for medical. And then they would give you a stamp. I mean, I've never known anybody to be refused. Put it out.
Got you.
Right.
Got
Right.
There's ways.
But the process, like the length of time, is it like 2 years, 3 years?
No,
is it a
it's
5 year?
No, in terms of citizenship, he's
No, in
talking.
terms of citizenship.
Citizenship.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a longer process. I'm a retiree.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a retiree, so it's easy for me. If you come here looking to buy land or you own property, then it's easier. But if you come here for no particular reason, then it's a little bit of a struggle. But it's encouraged. Like I say, it's encouraged by the government. It's encouraged.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That brings a lot of clarity, you know, because a lot of people are thinking that they can just go to Ghana and become citizens, right?
Immediately.
Not knowing that there's this process.
Yeah, Ghana has
still in
got a
place.
program called Right of Abode, where you can
Right.
apply under the right of abode based on your African ancestry.
Ancestry.
Yeah, to be a citizen of Ghana. So that is another channel in which that can
Gotcha.
happen. I don't know how long the process take or what is the procedure,
Or
but
the cost.
yeah. What motivated you to take part in the Ghanaian naming ceremony, and how did you feel when you received the name? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's a very important time in my life because, as you know, I'm carrying the name for my slave master, the slave masters.
All of us.
All of us are. So it's like I never knew my identity. I never knew who I was. The naming ceremony was special. We went to there was a queen mother in a village close to Askermanster, close to Slave River, and they welcomed you with drumming and dancing. They the first name is your day born. The second name is them meditating, their libations. They will get the name from their ancestors to give to you. You know. So my first name is Yao. My last name is Ajiman. Ajiman means conqueror. The Queen Mother went to a tree. She made a tree to come back with this name to give to me. So it's a very, very touching ceremony. And from this time, I felt like connected even more to my ancestry. You know, very, very.
Yeah.
The ceremony was like very regal and fantastic. There's many different kings, queen mothers, chiefs. Yeah, we went to a meeting. We went to meet a chief. He told us that we're welcome. We want land. He will get land for us. He's not going to ask us for money because he says there's too much. One of the problems of Ghana is everybody thinks you have money come from foreign. You know, even so, like this chief is special. This chief says, "Look, I don't want that money from you. I want you to come to Africa because you belong in Africa, and I'll give you land. I'll give you the opportunity to go in Africa." You know, so it was like It's a sense of belonging. Like I really, really feel like I belong somewhere for the first time in my life. And
So if somebody is interested in visiting Ghana through your tour or tour company, what are the steps?
well, we have a website called trueculturetravel.com, and it's lists all our various tours. We've also got a tour coming up in October, which is based around investment. People who wants to find land, to find investments. I would give them the opportunity, point them in the direction of people that can help them with this as well, you know. So like to our
Right.
website, there's many different tours and many different types of tours. For example, in November, we have a well-being tour.
Mm.
The main tours we do in Ghana are the cultural tours, where you can really learn about ancestry. Where you really feel like when you leave from Ghana, you want to come back because you feel connected, you know, not come back, come forward. And a lot of people talk about going back
Sure.
to
Right.
Africa,
Yeah,
but forward to Africa.
Mhm.
There's a
Come
difference.
on, forward.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So on our website, there's many different opportunities to come to Ghana for the cultural immersion, to really know what Ghana's about. Like I said, the Cape Coast, the feeling there was like, you know, like, boy, my ancestors were strong to survive this ordeal. You get strength from coming there. You get a lot of strength from being here once you know what your ancestors have been through. Because all of our ancestors have been through this, all of them. And we are just,
It's amazing that we never die, you know?
yeah, yeah. And there's a reason for that, you know. We come back. There's a door of no return in the castle. The final door, when the people went through this door, knowing they're never, ever going to
That's
return
it.
to the motherland. On the other side of this
Well,
door,
you changed that.
yes, because on the other side of this door, there's a sign saying have a door of return. Where you go through
Mhm.
the door of no return, and you turn back
And
and
then you go through now the door of return.
turn. Yeah, yeah. It's a very special moment.
Yes, sir. It's
Yeah.
a powerful thing that, you know?
But yeah, it's my desire to live on the land, you know, at some point in our journey. Yeah, the land is great. Once you touch down on the land, the energy is different. I don't matter where
Yeah,
you've been on this earth. Once
yeah,
you reach the continent, the vibration different. You could go
That's it.
Europe, you could go Asia, you could go where you want as an African. When you get to Africa,
A
that's where you
different
know you
vibration.
belong.
different
Yeah,
vibration.
man. That's you know you belong there. You
Years ago,
know it.
me and my years ago, I went to Morocco. Okay,
Yeah.
when I went to Morocco, I felt like I was going to Africa. When I reached Morocco, I wasn't in Africa. I didn't feel like Africa. You know,
Mhm.
it felt more like Arabic. I didn't get that feeling
Right.
like I'd come home. When I come to Ghana, it felt different from that time. It's like when I stepped at
Mhm.
the airport, it was like, boy, I'm home.
Mhm.
And
So we know we
go on.
go ahead.
And I when I come at the airport, I was welcomed by some people, friends of my brother, like a guy called Manny, who's the co-founder of our travel company. And certain friends. I was taken to a vegan restaurant. The owner of the vegan restaurant put me up in his house until I sorted myself out. I was looked after, like welcomed, like I'd never been welcomed before.
Come on, which is right.
From strangers, from people I don't even know,
Mhm.
you know?
I love
What is your
strangers, man, a
advice?
family.
What is your advice to people who want to move to Ghana?
Just um, come and there is a small problem with the diasporans coming here at the moment. Some diasporans keep in their own communities, you know, they still see themselves different from the Ghanaians. This has got
They
Right.
don't integrate. They don't integrate with the people.
Yeah.
not
Biggest problems everywhere you go. Yes.
yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
gonna
this
create tension.
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So this mindset needs to change, you know. I was different. I'll come alone. My friends are Ghanaians. Like I can come at my house, walk next door, sit down and just talk to my neighbors about and they're very passionate about the country. They're very passionate about this.
Right.
There is a
True.
problem obviously with corruption in Africa, like Ganem said, which is the term we call it for illegal mining, legal gold mining. This is a problem.
Mhm.
Because of the corrupt politicians. Corruption is rife at all stages of people. For example, if you're driving a car down the road and the car's not roadworthy and it gets stopped by the police, once you give the policeman a little bit of money, you can carry on the journey. So even we are corrupt as well, you know. So this is a very serious problem that's got to be dealt with in Ghana. Also, the mindset of litter. Ghana has got a really tough problem as well, which is down to plastic. So
Mhm.
part of a true culture, part of a company, we're starting an NGO, and one of the things we're going to tackle is changing the mindset of litter with the youngsters,
Right.
and trying
Yeah,
for the
there was a young man I saw. I don't remember if he was in Ghana or Nigeria, where he was using the plastics to make building materials.
Right.
yes,
Yeah, I see that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen a building here made from plastic water bottles, but
as in processed water bottles or the actual water
yeah,
bottles.
the actual water bottles, squashed and built a building. It's in a school not far from here.
Mm.
This is a big problem. Not just Ghana, all over Africa. The mindset and litter.
Mhm.
I think plastic has been banned in Rwanda, I believe. I think it's Rwanda. They've banned plastic already. They need to do that in Ghana. The government, in a moment, that's one of its manifesting promises to ban plastic. I want to see that manifest, and that's one thing I want to see. But we're going to start an NGO, which I'll update you on, and the main theme is African heritage, re-education, educating children about true African history that goes beyond the 400 years of slavery.
Right.
This is something we're working on at the moment.
Yeah, man. Good energy, man.
Yes. Yeah.
Great energy, Great energy. And it's good to see that the eye don't just forward to Africa with just a mindset of, you owed something. But we see that you forward to Africa with the mindset of service. So you want to provide a service to your homeland, and that is admirable. And we hope that those who are viewing, who have a mindset to connect to the motherland and travel to the motherland, will connect through your travel service and partake in the tours, because that's a first step, and that first step is key. So
Yeah,
give thanks for the moment, man, and give thanks for the reasoning, and give thanks for joining us today. Because it's a powerful reason, and I have a lot of powerful experience, which I hope one day in the future we'll be able to tap in a little more with the eye as well, to even get a little bit more information regarding life journey with the eye through these different places.
yeah.
Give thanks.
Give thanks.
Yes, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Um,
this show the power of returning to your roots,
yes, it's important for spiritual growth. Like the sense of really truly belonging. Really truly belonging, and as well, Ghana is very safe, very very safe. You don't feel any problems going anywhere at all. I feel safe. I feel welcomed. I feel at home. I feel loved. I feel blessed. And anybody that should come do this journey, they will feel the same. I guarantee them, if they want
Yes,
to.
sir.
Yeah,
Yes. Give thanks.
give
Yes,
thanks.
sir.
Happy.
Yeah.
I said the perfect balance, third class. I don't know, see a talk for the living for this represents. Good over evil, me tell them see a life over death. I swear, said I will never switch. Keep the fire burning out. Holy Manuel I Selassie, Jah, blazing fire.